So the most important thing that I have discovered after many years and still making a lot of mistakes is when you do academic writing, you have to be as simple as possible. The more the greater the simplicity, the better off that you actually are. And I've learned this so many times. I am somebody that really loves data and analysis, and I understand a lot of techniques, empirical techniques. That's all I want to sort of say. I wouldn't say that I'm an expert, empirical person. A lot more smarter people than I am, but I know a lot of empirical techniques. And, that there is always, when I do this. So I teach research methods. I'm an engineer. I like looking at data. I've done a lot of data analysis. And every single time I have come to the conclusion you cannot show data. You can't go and do anything that is unusual. You have to be painfully simple whenever you do any sort of analysis. And the reason is and you write anything up, and the reason is that you are almost always, if you do this kind of stuff, you're almost always way ahead of where reviewers actually are in their own journey in understanding analysis. And I'm not saying like reviewers are not bright and they don't sort of get things. It's just that you understand a lot more in your particular context of how things actually work, and you're miles ahead almost always. And it's crazy painful because this is almost always the main reason why I get my work rejected. It's not because it is that there isn't interesting insights and all of that kind of stuff. It's almost always, it's just too complicated. There's too much complexity. And this is even after I have I have focused on trying to make things as clear as possible. I try to focus on, clear writing, simple writing, and all of that kind of stuff. And it always comes down that it is too complicated. When I look at it, every single time, it's too complicated. There's too much that's going on. And the only time that I have been that things have gone smoothly is when it has been very, very simple. And even still, it's not smoothly it's the analysis that works, or the research that actually works. It's almost always you're like, well, this is like crazy too simple, and like way too simple. And then when you do it and you present it, people still are missing the mark and they still don't understand what you're talking about. And then you're like, oh my gosh, this is a lot more simpler than I thought it would ever be, and it's still too complicated. I know this sounds like a lot of hubris, but this is like, once you've done it and you've been in the experience of doing this, you just know that it's got to be so crazy simple, and that it's literally like it seems like this is 1 + 1, and if it's not that, if it's like, if there's even just a hair of complexity to what you're doing, it just gets thrown out, unless that you're a well-known person and all that kind of stuff. Just people just don't believe it. They just are. There's too much doubt involved, and you just need to be so simple, like every time. And I try to make things simple, and I try to focus on simplicity, and it's still too complicated. I cannot stress this enough. whenever you're doing anything and trying to explain something, it has got to be crazy, crazy, crazy simple. And even when you strive for making it crazy, crazy simple, man, people are just going to be confused. And I don't know how to get around that. I honestly don't, and I have not found the secret, other than you just got to keep making it more simple. Cut out as much as you can. There is you'll do a lot of analysis and sort of going in different directions. It's not going in different directions. There's just a lot of analysis. You don't need to include it. You don't need to include a lot of the data. I'm telling you, you really just need to be more simple. Anytime that you're like, oh, well, this is cool, and this actually proves the point that, it proves the point even better, and it's more robust and all that kind of stuff. You don't want to do it. You want to go with what's tried and true, what other people have done, that it's extremely simple. Otherwise, it's not going to work out. It just never works out. I cannot believe on how straightforward you have to be. I know that I'm like batting I'm just batting the bushes right now, but you have no idea how crazy it has to be in terms of how simple it has to be. Even when you think this is like, it is as straightforward as it possibly can, it is still too complicated for most people. It's where I'm gonna go, and you're just gonna get a lot of reviewers that are not gonna understand what you're talking about, and so you just have to be very strategic in what you present. Scientific articles are really tough that way, so just be very strategic. Don't present anything other than what is the only point of what you're trying to show, and nothing more. And I cannot stress this enough. All right, take care, and hopefully you got something. I'm just batting it down and wanting to remind you that really look at every sort of ounce of your paper, and if there are research that you're working on, and if there is an ounce of like this deviates from your message, this is just even an ounce of this is, reviewers are not going to understand it, just delete it, just get rid of it. You don't need it. It's just going to add too much confusion, and ultimately you're just never going to get it published. And that's my experience time and time again. I'm like, I'm going to make this simple, and then I do it, and I think it's like, wow, this is like definitive evidence, and this is crazy simple. It just never works out. So simpler the better every time. All right, take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.